Tonight, Bank of Ghana accused of conspiring to collapse Unibank while orchestrating a plot to get friends and cronies of top BOG officials to sit on a board of newly created Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. We are live at an ongoing forum on the banking crisis as we interrogate the claims.
And controversy hits the proposed National Teacher Council's licensing exams as NAGRAT and NAT raise red flags over its conduct, saying it's been organized in a rush. We'll bring you details as scores of teacher trainees hit the streets of Kumasi in Ashanti region to demonstrate against the licensing exams. Also, remember the Wa Polytechnic rector suspended for allegedly breaching procurement procedures to acquire a Mercedes-Benz worth over $500,000 Ghana cedis. Well, a Wa High Court has overturned his suspension.
There's no truth in whatever they are saying. Yeah, because I've not received any signed copy of the letter. That is it.
So you're still using the car?
Oh yes, I even went to the Mecom shop this morning with it to do my shopping, and I'm driving it around.
We'll be hearing from him. And Deputy Attorney General fights off claims government is not interested in prosecuting former top GFA officials.
Well, the investigations are ongoing, and I do not think that we have to push the investigative bodies to arrive at it. They do things in accordance with their procedures and law.
And later on in business,
founder of SAS Group and businessman Togba Fede described recent banking collapse as unfortunate but good for stabilizing the sector.
I'll bring you some reactions from clubs as an Accra High Court orders government to return all assets belonging to the Ghana Football Association later in sports.
You want to join us with your views and comments here on NewsNite? Send us a WhatsApp 0244 340 437. And then later on the flip side, well, the MTTD Tema Command has finally discovered what has been causing the massive traffic at the motorway roundabout.
Drivers who have been watching women, they should stop. When they see a beautiful on the road, instead of driving past, they want to slow down and watch. Sometimes they hit. It's not a joke at all. You know, somebody has come out with a song saying that Ghana for a pension will be a pension, and people are watching.
Well, join us with your thoughts on that. Gifty is excited about that and looking ahead to that story.
Because Evans special. My name is Gifty Andopia.
And my name is Evans Mensah. Well, the Bank of Ghana is tonight being accused of conspiring to collapse Unibank while orchestrating a plot to get some friends and cronies of the top BOG officials to sit on a board of the newly created Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited at an ongoing forum on the banking crisis. Member of Parliament's Finance Committee, Albert Odongo, attacked the integrity of the reports that led to the collapse of the 7 indigenous banks, claiming there's huge conflict of interest there.
So it is the most useless share of national pay to friends. Who is Reginald Francis? I read his profile. All he was saying is that I worked with a certain company and we engaged in acquisitions and measures to the tune of 2.3 billion. Which specific ones did you participate in and what was the role? That is a fraudulent scheme. So as a Kadogo, I once worked with SCG Consulting. All the clients of SCG Consulting, when I'm preparing my CV, I said that, I did assurance, I did consulting, transaction advisory for several companies as SCG. No, as SCG, I was only an accountant following 1 or 2 companies. So anything that company did, when I did, I add them to my CV. Tell us specifically which acquisitions and measures you participated. This holders advises. Unfortunately today, that holders advisors man, Reginald Francis, sits on the board of Consolidated Bank. What is his experience in universal banking? Today, conflict of interest has no basis in our financial system. How do you do this?
So that is Albert Adongo there. He also says that Unibank was deliberately targeted by the Bank of Ghana.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to run through a few things that happened before Unibank had been charged. At the time Unibank was taking over, special report identified 3 banks that would meet the minimum capital requirements by December 2018. And those banks were Ghana Commercial Bank, GCB Bank, Senate Bank, and Unibank. In their own confidential, they have indicated that Unibank was the most overly capitalized of all Ghanaian banks by 452 million, when all they needed was just about 120 million. So what happened? What happened?
Well, we can now speak to my colleague Komla Dong, who is at this event, currently still underway. Komla joins us on the line. Hello, Komla.
Hello, Evans.
So did the Member of Parliament and the Member of the Finance Committee explain and give any additional details about this allegation of conflict of interest at the senior level as far as the Bank of Ghana is concerned?
Well, he mentioned that the evidence available to him indicates that one Rex Francis, who is behind the Boldest Advisors Company, which actually carried out the audit and recommended to the Bank of Ghana the solvency of some of the banks, is actually a friend of the central bank governor, Dr. Addison. And so he invited him from the U.S. to come to Ghana, and then one of the first jobs he gave him was to do this particular audit, which he says was a basis for that of the banks. And that's one of the evidence he gave at the forum a short while ago.
What about his claim about Unibank, which he says was deliberately targeted?
Well, he says that from an internal memo he has, seen between managers or directors of Unibank, they raised questions about the frequency with which the auditors keep coming to the firm to do their audits. And so he says, for example, in a month, 4 separate audits were carried out, some from Boulder, some from KPMG, and then these audits kept downgrading the capital adequacy of the bank, and then anytime they came, they found problems with some of the activities of the bank. And the directors of the bank raised fundamental questions about the frequency of this audit, which ordinarily, according to him, should be done annually. And so that's one of the reasons why he felt that the Unibank in question was targeted by the central bank deliberately to bring it down.
And who else is speaking at this event?
Franklin Kujo, president of Imani Africa, spoke a short while ago, and he fundamentally raised questions about the Economic and Organized Crime Office, which is currently looking into the matter. He says, for example, IOCO does not have the wherewithal to carry out a probe in these matters. Instead, it's the Financial Intelligence Center which has the mandate to look into such matters. So he doesn't trust that IOCO will do a fair job because over time, IOCO has proven to be political. That's Franklin Kujo. He also went ahead to say, for example, that the pegging of the new capital requirements for the local banks at 400 million is insensitive, and it is, one of the recipes for the local banks to fold up because some of the banks cannot come up with such an amount of money. So these are the key areas Franklin Kujo. But he also speaks, for example, that the Bank of Ghana must necessarily come out and explain in detail what exactly led to the collapse of each bank and what remedial measures the Bank of Ghana is taking to prevent other banks from going the same route and collapsing, Evans.
And who organized this forum?
This forum was organized by the Policy Analysis and Monitoring Center. It's one of the new civil society groups which has been carrying out analysis and monitoring of various sectors of the economy. So they today decided to focus on the banking crisis in the financial sector.
Komla, thank you very much. We're working the phone lines to see if we can get Albert Adongo on and ask him a few questions about, his position that he expressed today at that ongoing forum.
All right, now, trainee teachers in Kumasi in the Ashanti region have been demonstrating today in protest of attempts by government to compel teachers to secure licenses to teach. Government says the new licensing regime will improve professionalism in teaching. But both the National Association of Graduate Teachers and the Ghana National Association of Teachers have raised concerns. The latest group to join in this protest is trainee teachers who allege the exam is a strategy by government to cut down on the employment of teachers. Eric Tete is spokesperson for the Friends of Colleges of Education in the Ashanti region.
If it best know if we are saying that it means rule of law doesn't exist in Ghana. When people have power, they tend to abuse those who are below. We are youth, and we are saying that according to provisions of the Constitution, Article 21 stated that we have right to do this. If they want to exercise the rule of law, they must consider some of these things. They shouldn't feel shy to come to terms with us. Yes, they are leaders, and they cannot always be right. So we are saying that they should come down and review into their own written document they give us. Because number one of their procedure was talking about indexing, where you see NTC will capture our details into their portal. We're not even there. We are out already. And today I say this, because we understand some of our names are with the regional whatever, Ministry of Education, they won't employ us even with us examination. We are not interested. We won't beg them for job this year. The youth are serious about this matter. That is how it is. When we are seeing some loopholes and want to address them, quickly don't want to sideline us. Of course, they'll send BNI to come and arrest you. They kill people and no document. Of course, so that is not new to us. That is what the nation is all about. So we are saying that they can choose not to employ us this year. We don't care. We are fighting for our right, and it's time the youth need to come together. Enough. Then what is the use of that one external body who has been producing teachers for this nation? And look, we hear National Teaching Council president or whatever saying that those licenses to raise our professional status at the international market. Are we now training teachers for export? Ladies and gentlemen, we believe that the mess in the system is not the fact that teachers are not performing. It's the fact that TLMs are not enough. Now, limited classrooms, a lot of things we need to deliver. And so we believe that giving me license will not solve the problem, ladies and gentlemen. We are saying that they should provide those materials. Then if those things are provided and yet teachers are refusing to produce that competency level, then they can sanitize the system.
Well, the Vice President of NAGRAT, Jacob Anaba, says government is yet to clarify concerns raised over cost of securing and renew the licenses, which are to be awarded by the awarding institution, the National Teaching Council.
A document that contains licensure regime or licenses to the professional teacher is the PT-PDM policy document, which we are yet to agree on some of the areas. We have raised concerns.
What are those concerns?
Yeah, for example, when will you re-register or renew your license? How much should a professional teacher pay for renewal? When will a license be revoked, and how will you get it back? Those issues have not been ironed out, and it is contained in a document that we are yet to agree on it. So those issues are pending. What we have now is that those who are in colleges and the universities, they are to write exams. They will be given the license. But we, those who are in the system, we are yet to analyze the procedure in obtaining a license and the issue that will arise after the license.
So going forward, what's your expectation?
Yes, in fact, the Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Educhum, has promised that we have to meet on the document and finalize issues on them.
Well, that is Jacob Anaba speaking to Kwete Nate. But Evans, we're staying a lot more, a little longer on this matter because Deputy General Secretary of NAT, Gifty Anyogbe and Apanbil, says that licensure exams does not only lack legislative backing, but is being organized in a rush.
The issues that we have are, we are not against the license. We are against the hasty nature that they are conducting the licensure examination.
Exactly what do you mean when you say hasty nature?
There are a lot of issues that the unions have raised that have not been addressed. Then secondly, the people who are going to write the exam have a lot of anxieties that have not been able to allay their fears. For instance, if you are going to write an exam, you should be able to have an idea of the nature of exams that you are going to write. So best practices, as a new examination that you are going to write, there should be sample questions on the NTC website for teachers to be able to assess so that it will guide them in their studies. Then number two, have the teacher trainees going to write the exam. We have those from the universities who are going to write the exam. How many people are involved so that adequate preparations could be made for them so that nobody will get to any examination center and will find that he or himself wanting. Then all the documents that are governing the policy are all in draft form. So assuming that in the course of implementation, issues crop up, are they going to use a draft separate, whatever that has happened? So we are saying that all those documents should have been concluded, statistics of how many people are going to write the exams be known, so that adequate preparations could be made for these people to go and write the exam. And secondly, the teacher training should also be given guidelines as to how to prepare for the examination.
So that is Dr. Evelyn Odro there. Well, that's actually a Gifty Anyogbe Apanbil there. But the National Teaching Council says the teacher trainees have a choice to either participate or exempt themselves. Dr. Evelyn Odro has been speaking to us, but let's get on the line now and speak to Executive Secretary of the National Teaching Council. Mrs. Odro, thank you very much for your time this evening. There are concerns that you are rushing this policy. How do you respond to that?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity that you've been giving to me. I am surprised that Gifty Apambil of NAT, who was on TV telling people that she has been educating the members about the licensure exam and everything about the law in their diary, goes round and then say that we are rushing. Why should we rush in this? The law was passed in 2008. Why didn't we do it at that time? If 2008 we did it, then you can say we were in a rush. From 2008, these same people who are telling you that we were rushing are dragging the thing. When we do this, they are talking about this. When we do this, they say that. In an attempt to drag the issue. Please, we are not rushing. And I don't think Gifty can say we are rushing, since she has been educating members about the licensure.
Well, they have concerns they say you have not addressed. Some of them include cost, for example. So for the teacher unions, they want to know how much a professional teacher will have to pay if they have to secure or renew their license.
She knows about it. She knows about it. And everybody knows about all those who are talking to you. We have had several meetings about this. Sometimes they boycott. They say
no, but how much? How much is it? Can you tell us?
They are talking about. Hello.
Yes, please.
PTPDM policy. It is teacher professional development and management policy. That is not the material we are using for.
How much are you charging them to give them a license and for renewal?
For 450. They should check how much Nigerians are paying for licensure, how much Zambians are paying for licensure, how much all the other international people are paying. Even Cambridge University wanted to come and take the English aspect. They wanted to charge £160. And I said, please, we are not ready for that. Please, we are not extorting money from anybody. And they are aware, and I'm surprised that they go behind and say all these kinds of things. When we sit together and discuss issues, the materials that we gave the documents for them, they said they will use 2 weeks. They spent 6 good weeks. They could not submit. 6 good weeks. How do you want us to carry on our work when you keep dragging us behind?
So for how long will a teacher need to use the license before they will have to renew it?
These are all in the law. So if Gifty doesn't read the law and come and tell you that they don't know, then I'm surprised and I'm shocked. Everything has been stated. The renewal, we are saying that you have to get the license, and after 4 years, you do the renewal. In other places, every year you have to renew. But we are saying that we want reform. We want reform teaching. Therefore, what we want to do is to ensure that the teachers are sharpening their skills. So we will give you some time to build your portfolio and attend professional development courses for 4 years.
So that's for 4 years. But then
they are all aware.
But the teacher trainees have also been complaining. They say they haven't been provided with learning materials to write the exams, which is barely 2 weeks away.
Thank you very much. I don't think that if you are going to write a professional exam for journalism, please, how do you get your materials? We have given them areas of where we want to write because we consulted their curriculum. And that is what we are using. So if they are telling me that they were not giving materials in college to learn English, to learn mathematics, we cannot give them the materials. But they have to find the materials to learn. We are going to examine you on basic arithmetic, basic literacy, and essay. Are they saying that we should give them the exams questions for them to answer? We have already given them the sample questions. Yesterday, I was at a down with them, and they were telling me that they have the sample questions. They have gone to the website. I'm surprised that Gifty has not gone to the website and is telling you something else. We have put everything there, and those who care have gone there and they have downloaded the material.
Finally, let me ask you, another issue that has come up is the teachers who teach special subjects. They're also saying that they've not been given any intensive training. Are there plans to assist them in this area?
Sorry, teacher who do what?
Those who teach special subjects.
They have not been given what?
They've not had any training. Are there plans to assist them in that area?
Oh, that we are not talking about teachers, existing teachers. We are concerned with those who are coming in. We have been having training. The bottom 125 schools that are pulling us down. Ask around. From the past 3 to 4 years, we have been giving them professional development, supported by World Bank. We've been giving professional. Now, USAID is supporting us in 100 districts to give professional development on how to teach reading. We are doing all that. And some of the teachers are also doing well, doing self-improvement, going back to the university to learn. And GES is giving them steadily with pay to go and learn. Please, I don't understand what is happening. Maybe it is intentional to, distort whatever we are doing. But otherwise, I don't know.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time here on NewsNight. That's Dr. Evelyn Odro, the Executive Secretary of the National Teaching Council. Evans.
So effective early September, that every teacher in Ghana will have to write this exam to be licensed to teach. Now, I want to hear from you. If you're a parent and a teacher, I want to hear what you make of this new policy and the concerns you've heard expressed by the teachers tonight. Send us your WhatsApp, 0244340437. If you're a parent, this has to do with you as well. It will affect, the implementers of this policy believe it will affect quality of teaching in the school. So if you don't pass the licensure exams, you don't get a license to teach.
You don't get the license to teach.
So let's hear from you on that. Well, let's stay with education. Now, does this voice sound familiar?
Yeah, I'm still driving it because I've not received any letter from the government council that I should park the car. And two, it's just something that the council chairman is fabricating. And so if there's anything like they mean what they are saying, they should come forward and tell me. But otherwise, I just say that it is not there's no truth in whatever they are saying. Yeah, because I've not received any signed copy of the letter. That is it.
So you're still using the car?
Oh, yes. I even went to the, Mecom shop this morning with it to do my shopping. And I'm driving it around. There's nothing like anybody has come to me for me to, go and pack it anywhere. So I'm not giving it up now.
Well, that's the voice of Owa Polytechnic Rector, Professor Emmanuel Owusu-Mafo, of course. And he's talking about the car there. That car in question is a black, luxurious Mercedes-Benz worth over $500,000 Ghana. He didn't give that. I don't know if you recall. 4 months ago, he was chased out of the Owa Polytechnic campus by lecturers who were wielding clubs and stones, were chasing him.
And actually blocked. They tried to stop him from driving out.
They've erected barricades with blocks and stones, etc., just to prevent him. And because they didn't want him to use a vehicle.
And remember, there was this huge tree that the vehicle was able to drive over.
He desperately maneuvered his way around the campus and, of course, went away with the vehicle, although the teachers had attempted to retrieve the vehicle for him. The rector at the time justified his acquisition of the vehicle, despite criticism by some staff and management of the school, and subsequently sued the governing council over its decision to suspend him because they had alleged that there have been breaches in procurement in the purchase of that particular luxurious Mercedes-Benz. Well, earlier today, the Wa High Court overturned his suspension. John News Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam was in court for us and filed this report.
The Wa High Court was full to capacity, thereby bringing enormous pressure on its already weak benches and chairs. Suspended rector Professor Mafo appeared at the court dressed in black suit and not in the luxurious controversial Benz, but in red Mitsubishi L200. Throughout the court proceedings, he occasionally forces a smile or wore a frown when he thinks the ruling is going in his favor or not. The respondents, led by the chairman of the governing council, Professor Daniel Berger, accompanied by 3 dozen lecturers and staff of the Polytechnic, leaned on the back of their benches whilst having their eyes fixed towards the bench. Justice Kwesi Boache, in reviewing the case, stated that the applicant was not given a hearing before he was suspended and thus has violated the principle of natural justice. He therefore overturned the suspension of the applicant and awarded a cost of 5,000 Ghana cedis against the respondents. Lawyer for the applicant, Alfred Trey Yabua, is happy with the court's ruling.
The judge explained suspension is a punishment, and if you want to suspend a person, at least there must be initial investigation involving that person before you do the suspension. But in this case, he wasn't involved in any form of initial investigations. They just went ahead to levy that punishment. That's why I say that the suspension was not properly conducted. Or we came to court and we've been vindicated. So the natural consequence is that my client is happy. I'm also happy for the ruling of the court.
Lawyer for the respondents was not immediately available for comment. Judging, however, from the faces of the respondents and the lecturers of the Polytechnic, the tug of war at the Polytechnic is far from over. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Well, we can now speak to the chairman of the Wa Polytechnic Governing Council, Professor Daniel Berger. Prof, thank you for your time here on NewsNite. We appear to have lost him. We'll try and get him back on the line because I want to understand what happens now. Is he going to be reinstated with immediate effect, or they intend to challenge the court ruling today? We'll explore that. And we also
but even if they want to do that, Evans, once the court has ruled, they will still have to reinstate him and then take actions later.
We'll see what he says once we get to speak to him. Later, the Attorney General's Department has been fighting off claims it has no intention of prosecuting former top officials of the Ghana Football Association. Well, this comes on the back of the AG's withdrawal of a motion seeking to liquidate the football governing body. The motion for liquidation was filed after the broadcast of a documentary by investigative journalist Anas Aremea Anas detailing corruption in Ghana football. Now, the Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Adame told the court today government has reached an agreement with FIFA on how to reform football administration in the country. We'll bring you a report on what transpired in court, but here is Bulsa South MP Clement Park raising concerns about the slow pace of police investigations.
What happened was an apology and a resignation by Mr. Nyantichi, but that has left many Ghanaians wondering why the complaint that the president filed, in lieu of seeing the video, no action seems to have been taken after he was initially picked up and then released. And you see, what is even more curious is that most of the content that was captured in that video have been affirmed, where Mr. Nyantichi indicated on the video, as shown by many Ghanaians, that Ghana was going to enter some form of agreement with Chinese, and that some amount to the tune of about 2 billion Ghana cedis was going to be expended in the area of infrastructure.
Well, Deputy AG Godfrey Adame tells John News the investigative bodies are yet to conclude their work.
Government following the screening of the number 12 documentary, which made damning revelations about officials in Ghana football, including FA President Kwesi Nyantakyi, went to the High Court in June to seek an injunction against the association. The injunction, which was successful, restrained all officials of the football governing body from performing their functions. It later appointed the Registrar General as the official liquidator. Government subsequently engaged FIFA on the matter, reaching a resolution that a normalization committee will be set up. The decision to abandon the dissolution of the FA is a direct outcome of the Swiss meeting. Justice Samuel Esiedu granted the request and also ordered that all assets belonging to the GFA be returned. The Deputy AG told journalists government is satisfied with the outcome.
Well, the investigations are ongoing, and I do not think that we have to push the investigative bodies to arrive at it. They do things in accordance with their procedures and law. And further to that, FIFA and government of Ghana agreed to set up a special task force, as I indicated. It's not just a composition of the normalization committee that we agreed on. The Ghana government, the FIFA and CAF also agreed to set up a joint special task force that will have the responsibility of reviewing the disciplinary mechanisms available for football now, and to assess the conduct of all the persons caught in the announced video, to indeed go beyond the announced video and set up proper disciplinary structures for bringing to book persons caught to have engaged in these infractions and all. And where the infractions border on a violation of the domestic laws of Ghana. For example, if a person takes money and is clearly seen to be in a way as to border on the commission of a crime as stealing, fraud, and what have you, that person will be sanctioned in accordance with the domestic laws of Ghana.
It's, however, not clear how soon the normalization committee will be set up to enable football activities to resume.
Joseph Akablay's report. Well, George Rafi is here with business, but quick reminder before we go into business.
Let's bring you a few of your comments on WhatsApp console right now. And this one from Kofi Sedu says, it is very curious to note that Unibank, which was adjudged the best indigenous bank of the year in recent times by the same BOG, will turn around and revoke its license in this very suspicious manner. Something is definitely not right.
And that is coming from Kofi Seydou. Evans, hi Evans. This one says, this teacher licensing thing to me is good, but the regulating body NTC and to some extent the teacher unions have done little educating members on this new teacher license, and it's coming from Mark.
Clenham says, if this licensure exams is genuine, why is NTC not ready to take suggestions from the various unions concerned? And final one, also on the key issues about the licensure exams, which people seem to be concerned about. Kofi Siri says, what has the license got to do with the output of teachers when teachers are struggling to get teaching and learning materials to do their job? Now, the National Teachers Council just want to fleece the already impoverished trainee teachers, and this should be resisted by the well-meaning Ghanaian chalk fraternity. He says, appears that he might be a teacher himself. But those are some of your views here on NewsNite. Still ahead.
Still ahead, we'll tell you how the MTTD Tema Command has finally discovered what has been causing the massive traffic at the motorway roundabout.
Drivers who have been watching women, they should stop. When they see a beautiful on the road, instead of driving past, they want to slow down and watch. Sometimes they hit. It's not a joke at all. You know, somebody has been come out with a song saying that Ghana for a pension will be a pension, and people are watching.
Okay, details of that right after business. Hello, George. What do you have in the headlines?
Events coming up in business. Founder of SAS Group and Business, man and entrepreneur Toby Afede describes recent banking collapse as unfortunate but good in reviving confidence in the sector. IMF set conditions for completion of Ghana's program with a fund by the end of April in 2019. The business news on NewsNite is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. Having plugs and insecticide, mosquito spray, pleasant on humans, a tough nightmare on insect. United Pension Trustees, my own pension Papa, and of course Mark Auto Parts, distributors of Chevy cars.
With MTN Protect, this is my story.
All these downloads, and I still have so much memory thanks to the cloud backup.
Oh, wow! Thanks to the anti-theft feature, I can track and lock my phone even when it goes missing.
What's your story? Make the right decision by securing information on your mobile phone with MTN Protect. Text SD to 1359 and experience real security solutions like cloud backup, antivirus, anti-theft, and a lot more everywhere you go.
The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us again. From the 1st of August to the 30th of September, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302-764-209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
That is the sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mack. Yes, Mack Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars, from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicles stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pocket. Mack Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website mackghana.com. Mack Ghana, with you for the long run.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. And founder of finance group SAS and business mogul Togwe Afede has described the recent collapse of banks as unfortunate, but neither to restore confidence in the banking sector. The Bank of Ghana closed about 7 banks in the country over their failure to meet some banking regulations. The move has been described by some, actually criticized by some players in the industry, but Togwe Afede disagrees. He tells Joy Business this should rather help improve banking in the country and also protect the local banks.
We, of course, have to commend Bank of Ghana for trying to ensure sanity in the system. But it's most unfortunate because a lot of this could have been avoided anyway. You know, the former managers of the bank were as meticulous as the current management is doing, both in the issue of licenses and in the supervision of licensees. A lot of these lapses would not have happened. Banks go. But of course, we have to also look at the other side. In some cases, there were challenges from government's inability to pay contractors who were funded by these banks, you know. But of course, where there are outright wrongdoings, not linked to government indebtedness to takers, those are most regrettable.
I have this question because of where you're coming from as an indigenous person and a strong promoter of the indigenous brand. And for you, do you feel bad that developments like this cast doubt about our quest to grow indigenous firms and let them take up their places in the national space?
Well, of course, that's why I regret this thing has happened, because so honestly, I wish what we've gone through recently hadn't happened. And I think we'll all take a cue from it, we'll all learn from it, both with the professionals wanting to establish banks or who already have banks, of financial institutions, and also regulators. We can all work towards a future that would see strong domestic, banking sector. When I mean domestic, control by indigenous people, that can be trusted and that we can all support to grow.
Founder of finance group SAS, businessman Tobiafere the 14th. He's also the chairman of the board of the National Investment Bank. Still on the banking sector, Investor Merchant Bank, UMB, has committed additional $11 million in the construction of a cassava starch processing company that is a central sugar company under the One District, One Factory initiative. Government had in the past received similar financial support from a section of the business community. Now speaking to Joy Business after signing ceremony between UMB and the Central Sugar Company, Chief Executive John Ewa says his outfit is aimed to actually support the economic growth of the country.
As a bank, we are committing a total of $10.8 million towards the establishment of this starch factory. And this is in realization of the promise that we made when we visited the president in 2017 and committed funding space of about $100 million to help in the realization and or deployment of this initiative. It's an initiative that needs all on board. It is not a government initiative. It is a government working with the private sector, and we as a bank standing in the middle, so we can assist private promoters who want to take advantage of government policy to enrich and to enhance the economic growth agenda that we all wish for.
Chief Executive and MD of UNB, John Ewa. The IMF says the April 2019 completion date for Ghana's program would largely depend on meeting some critical targets under the program next month. The IMF mission is expected in town to review how the Ghana has fared under the program so far. Government had indicated that the program should be completed in December this year, but information from the IMF suggests otherwise, as in the actual date for the completion of the program being April 2019. Country Representative Natalia Koliadina tells Joy Business moving past the 7th review will be very, very important.
It is very important that this review, 7th review, will be very important because it would indicate how far or how close we are from the completion of the program and how achievable the targets are, yes. Everything depends on how quickly we can get in December data.
So if by March we've had everything in place, then the board should meet in April?
Well, yeah, why not, yes. I don't expect that the board will meet any time, later than April, yes.
And that is when we can say that Ghana's program has indeed ended.
Yes, exactly. And you look so happy to say that.
IMF country representative Natalia Koliadina. Tax consultant Abdullah Ali Nachia has called for the review of this tax incentives policy because it is really not helping the economy. Speaking on the sidelines of a high-level dialogue on tax expenditure in Ghana, Mr. Nachia said government may lose out on revenue if this policy is not reviewed.
If you want to test how grievous it is, you can take the budget for 2018, for example, and look at the percentage of GDP that is going to certain expenditure line items, like refunds, 0.7%. You take subsidies, 0.1%, and you have a tax expenditure of about 1.98%. So if you had stemmed that revenue loss, you can imagine what you could have done in terms of subsidies to the agri sector, in terms of paying off certain government expenditure. So you can assess the grievousness from looking at the percentage of revenue loss through tax expenditures as against the percentage to GDP of certain expenditure lines for the country. And then you will see that a lot could have been done with that.
Tax consultant Abdullah Ali Nachia. Now, energy expert Ben Boache says it might be difficult for now to establish whether the country has been shortchanged in terms of crude oil earnings. His comments follows concerns that the $4.5 billion secured as revenue since the country started producing oil is not enough. Mr. Boache tells Joy Business these structures need to be put in place to ensure that we establish how much we've got.
We haven't had reasons to doubt that we are not getting what we should be getting. We have seen some challenges with GRA's auditing processes and the timely delivery of those audits, because those are the things that can actually review whether we're being shortchanged or we're getting our fair share. of the resources. But as far as the contract is concerned, the royalties that we're supposed to get, the state agencies report that. We are not on the FPSO, so one GRA and the partners, the state partners report what they are getting. That is what we use. But a more systematic audit and comprehensive audit periodically would be able to point to any other issues that we think may result in the country being shortchanged.
Energy expert Ben Boachi. And that's all for business on NewsNight.
All right. George Rafi, why that smile, by the way? Okay, Evans. Well, let's go on and look at agenda for today. So we continue to focus on assessing government progress made in tackling sanitation and filth following President Akufo-Addo's pledge to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa by the end of his first term. Today we put the spotlight on Medina and La Paz, both suburbs of Accra, from where Ifwa Evans Chinnery brings us Joy News Agenda.
Take a stroll through the principal streets of places like Medina and La Paz, and you are likely to be greeted with heaps of refuse dumped along various sections of the road, with its smell polluting the environment. Some residents say this is very disturbing.
Since last year, even years before, it has remained how it is. It has never changed because the gutters are still like that.
Formerly, they used to clean the gutters every Saturday. 1 week, on the 10th Saturday of every month, but now they have stopped.
At some lorry stations at La Paz and Medina, some of the passengers are turned away by the foul smell emanating from the drains. Here, litter is scattered all over and people look on unconcerned. The drivers here at the La Paz lorry station say they've had to gather and collect the trash by themselves whenever there is a litter buildup.
This sanitation problem is very huge problem in our station here. So we executive of the Ngoso and GPRTU executive, we organize the women we are trading here so that every morning and every evening they used to sweep and gather the rubbish at the one place so that early morning vehicle will come and convey it to the boiler side. And normally we make it monthly, and every month we used to pay 4,000 Ghana cedis every month, and that is the money that we are spending every month.
Isn't it worrying to see such unpleasant scenes in our capital cities? For Joy News, my name is Ifwa Evans Chinnery.
My name is Evans Mensah.
I am Gifty Andopia, and her name is Baba Tando.
Yeah, two ladies in red. One gentleman
Evans in the middle.
Gentleman in sky
but
blue.
Evans, I wore red for a reason. I wore red for you.
I
wore red to sympathize and solidarize with you. Because last night you watched a horror movie and you have still not recovered from it. So I'm actually here in red to support you, to solidarize with you.
Maybe you should have added black.
Is that the reason why you also wore red?
No. I sympathize with you, Evans, but not wearing red.
No, I mean, Evans, what happened to you last night? Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur.
He was watching as though he was expecting a miracle.
I worked till...
Even when it was 3-0.
I worked till 9:30.
Evans.
Almost 10. And simply went home.
Really? You didn't watch United? Look, you know what? This afternoon
is there a team called United?
You are denying your team. This afternoon I came to one realization. You people, United fans, you actually wish that we were still in the era of slave trade and barter trade. You'd have exchanged Mourinho for bread and pay. Seriously.
Yeah,
still United.
Yeah, that I don't mind.
Actually. You know, you are begging Chelsea to come for Mourinho.
Yes, they should come for Mourinho.
It is well.
It is well.
God is good.
And still United.
Well.
God is good.
Still
United.
And God is good.
God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
Anyway, let's do some more football. And an Accra High Court earlier today ordered government to return all assets belonging to the Ghana Football Association as plans to officially discontinue the dissolution of the association were finalized. This comes as a huge relief to local football clubs as they inch closer to the resumption of normal football activities. Chief Executive Officer of Ashanti Gold SC, based in Obuasi, Frederick Achampon, has been reacting to the latest football developments.
To me, it's a big news, massive relief to the clubs and to everyone connected with Ghana football because it was as if the activities involving football had come to a complete halt. And so with this news, I think that an indication that the processes of getting football back has now begun.
What's the next immediate thing you'd want to see?
Well, I'd want that the FIFA would announce a normalization committee so that it will set the roadmap as to what will be happening to Ghana football, especially with the resumption of Ghana League and the other related football activities in Ghana.
That was Ashanti Gold, Ash Gold SC CEO Fred Achampo. Now let's move to golf. And Ghana is hosting the rest of Africa for the 14th edition of the All Africa Challenge Trophy. This month, actually, it's already started. Now, the All Ladies Golf Championship, which is held every 2 years, started on August 26 and will end on Friday, August 31 at the newly designed PGA-rated Achimota Golf Club. Ghana will face off other African countries in the All-Female Challenge Trophy. President of the All Africa Challenge Trophy, Monica Azuba, is anticipating an exciting championship.
I think I'm now the only person who has been in all the other competitions, the other All Africa Challenge trophies, right from inception in 1992, first as a player, then also again as a player and a trustee for the region, and now as president. I've been told that it is tough, and the team from Uganda have told me it is a tough course, and it is a PGA course, and you all know what PGA course is. We don't have many in Africa. But you know, when you have a difficult course, it is a challenge. At least for me, I like challenges. So I think it's going to be very exciting.
President of the All Africa Challenge Trophy, Monica Azuba speaking there. And there's US Open. It started yesterday. Novak Djokovic is actually on court now, playing against Martin Fucsovics. He's done with the first set. Novak Djokovic took that by 6 games to 3. Currently in the second set. 1 game to love for Martin Fucsovics. Later, the tennis legend, Roger Federer, will be in action against Yoshihito Nishioka. And then also in the ladies division, there are some matches that will be going on. Johanna Konta takes on Caroline Garcia. We also see Angelique Kerber. She's actually playing right now against Margarita Gasparian. Angelique Kerber won the first set by 7-6, currently in the second set. Head to myjoyonline.com/sports for all of these matches, the results, and the fixtures. And Evans, when is Manchester United's next game?
I think it's Sunday.
Against?
Burnley.
Oh.
Yes, and
3 points.
yeah,
3 points assured.
No.
Well, that one to you.
We're now praying that we lose the next 6, because if that doesn't happen,
Mourinho will stay.
Exactly.
Mourinho is not going anywhere.
Huh?
He ain't going nowhere.
We'll see.
He's staying.
Well, thank you very much, Baba.
All the best, Manchester United fans.
Well, still here on NewsNite on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's quickly return to our story about the WA court revoking the suspension of the WA rector who was suspended 4 months ago after it emerged that he may have breached procurement regulations in the purchase of a very expensive Mercedes-Benz. Let's speak to Professor Daniel Baga. He's a chairman of the WA Polytechnic Governing Council. Prof, thank you for your time here on NewsNite. Hello, Prof.
Thank you. Good evening.
Great. Good evening. So, I mean, what is the Governing Council going to do now that the court has pronounced and has reinstated the rector you suspended, who was suspended 4 months ago?
Yeah, well, I think the judge took that decision against the background that he wasn't given a fair hearing. And we have the contention that, where we haven't sacked the rector, what we did was to suspend him to pave way for an independent, investigation team to go into the allegations.
So are you going to go by what the court has ordered and reinstate him fully, or you're going to appeal against that decision?
Yeah, I think the court has taken a decision, and we also have the right to do some consultations and then weigh the various options open to us.
But do you really have any options? The court was quite emphatic that he wasn't given a fair hearing, so your suspension has been revoked by the court, so which means you have to reinstate him.
Yes, well, but the suspension, I mean, if we weren't there, but what it meant was that we didn't give Professor Mafu a hearing. We didn't give him a hearing, and therefore it was on that basis that he thought that we were not very fair with him.
So
that we should give him. We thought that at least if the committee was instituted, it is only at that point in time that he could be offered the opportunity to speak to the allegations level against him.
So does that suggest that you're going to now constitute the committee and give him a hearing?
Yeah, well, we are discussing with our lawyer.
What action to take?
Yes, what action to take.
Does that include appealing against the decision the court pronounced on today?
Well, I can't rule that out.
But if tomorrow the rector shows up to take his position, what happens?
Well, he has the right to go because the court has taken a decision and he has the right to go to office. I cannot prevent him from going to office.
Okay.
Until, the next step is taken, we go by the court's decision.
Okay. I'm grateful that you joined us. That is Professor Daniel Baga. He's the chairman of the WA Polytechnic Governing Council.
And certainly tomorrow, the campus will be an interesting place to be. Well, Joy Nisa's parliamentary correspondent, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, is part of a panel discussing the future of Africa's food production at the Food Security Conference in Durban, South Africa. The conference by the civil society group BEO Africa is being held in collaboration with South Africa's Ministry of Science and Technology. A while ago, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, who also delivered a presentation on the challenges threatening the continent's food security, shared this with us.
The challenges that everyday farmers in Africa face vis-a-vis the technology that is being thrown in there. So there are issues of climate change, which is negatively impacting farmers. I have done documentaries about farmers making huge losses as a result of the rains not falling. There are problems with the fall armyworm invasion, which has been a major talking point, which is, again, a key thing that African farmers are battling with. There are concerns about low productivity. There are concerns about migration from rural areas, and also it resulting in a situation where there are no farm hands in a lot of the rural communities. And there are concerns about the breaking labor that would require on farms, which are not exactly mechanized. I think in dealing with some of these problems and trying to get the message across, we've not done a very good job in relating some of these challenges with agricultural production with the role that biotech can play in helping deal with it. The ordinary farmer hears about it and he fully doesn't understand. So all of these barriers, one way or other, need to be broken, and it starts with adequate education for the ordinary farmer and particularly members of the public, and ensuring that some of these challenges that the farmers face, they get to understand the role that biotechnology can play in helping deal with them. That's probably the way to go going forward. Thank you very much.
Of course, that is Gakpo's presentation there. And if you watch that video, his applause was pretty the loudest among the lot that presented today. But the substance of what has been discussed today is food security on the continent, and how biotechnology can assist in dealing with that. Gakpo joins us on the telephone line. Joseph, thank you for connecting live from South Africa. I'm pretty sure you're having a great time there, but we'll come to the fun you're having there. But let's talk about the real issues that you've been talking about today. Is there a sense that if we don't introduce science and technology in these matters, we are heading for a challenge when it comes to food security on the continent?
So that's the general conversation that's taking place, pointing to the impact that climate change, for example, is having on agricultural production all over the world. The fact that as a result of the unavailability of rains when they are expected, situations of increased heat in a number of farming areas across the world. You would recall the recent incident with the fall armyworm invasion that devastated large farmlands across Africa and even beyond. Then the point is made that it's about time that a broader conversation is had on how to deal with some of these challenges. And mainly the point has been that all of this should be done with the farmers who grow the food mainly in mind, and that the things that they think need to be done to help deal with some of these problems is what should be prioritized going forward, so that then we don't see situations of any kind of science and innovation by scientists being thrust on them.
Joseph, thank you very much, and I'm pretty sure it's been a
You
fun
deserve
trip.
some accolades, Joseph.
Yeah, he deserves some accolades.
You deserve some accolades. Congratulations, Joseph.
Well, let's do some flip side, and this is an interesting one, Gifty. I know you once lived in Tema. You once lived in Tema?
I was born in Tema.
Good. So you use...
Don't put anything on me now.
No, you use the Tema motorway roundabout a lot.
Yes.
Have you ever wondered the real reason why that place is always... that's the only place I really hate when I travel into, say, Akosomo. Have you ever wondered why that place is always congested?
When I'm using it, it's not congested.
Okay, but when I use it, it's congested. And then we finally discovered why.
You are part of the problem.
You
are part of the problem why the place is congested.
Listen to the Tema MTTD commander diagnosing the problem.
Keep the pace, not the race. Check me out, but don't be silly. And then there's a 16. And our face off you.
Miss Bell probably knew just what could cause the men to fall. But some of you cannot afford to be distracted, especially the drivers.
Drivers who have been watching women, they should stop. When they see a beautiful on the road, instead of driving past, they want to slow down and watch. Sometimes they hit. It's not a joke at all.
Tema MTTD Police Commander Chief Supo Joseph Owusu appears to have all the information. In fact, all the filler. Just as, sir.
There was a program that we did. We invited the drivers, and it was one of their main concerns.
Well, yes, sir, but sometimes these sides, are irresistible.
You can be focused, but when you are driving and you see somebody with that tight something and a normal human being, you watch. Somebody has come out with a song saying that Ghana for a pension will be a pension, and people are watching.
And some of your men, the police, fall too. Oops, not my words. Maybe it's time some of the ladies too did us a favor. Or maybe not.
When you dress moderately, if you're in your car, fine. Some of them too deliberately, they want to walk on the street, perambulating, they'll go to the out there and then come back, doing nothing.
So you heard it there.
Evans,
stop watching. Me.
Evans Peshe.
Okay. Well,
I just drive.
I haven't.
I just drive.
When I drive, my eyes on the road. That's it for NewsNite.
I am Gifty Andropia.
My name is Evans Mensah.
And Geek Squad is up next.